So the Fantastic Four First Steps is not only the fourth time that this team has been brought to the big screen, but it is also the latest entry of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by Matt Shakman. In the film, as y'all can imagine, we follow the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards was portrayed by Pedro Pascal, Sue Storm was portrayed by Vanessa Kirby, Ben Grimm was portrayed by Eben Moss-Bachrach, and Johnny Storm portrayed by Joseph Quinn, as the team are forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond as their world, as their planet is being threatened by a ravenous space god named Galactus, along with his herald, the Silver Surfer. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to the miss a future video, whether it's a feature review, reaction, top 5, top 10, or whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to want to miss the cool stuff I have coming your way. And for those of you who are coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back, everybody. You have no idea how happy I am to see your faces once again. And let's also start our conversation below as well. Have you guys seen the Fantastic Four First Steps? What do you think about it? What are your biggest hopes? What are your biggest fears about the new Fantastic Four film? What are your guys' hopes of what I'll be doing for the MCU as a whole? And also, does this film make you more excited about Doomsday that's coming up very, very soon? Let me know what you think. Oh, and also, one more thing I gotta say, and that is this. This review will be spoiler-free, so do not worry if you're worried about me saying the slightest, the smallest spoiler. Do not worry, you're safe with me, although I may do a future video as to why this movie does certain things, making me, let's just say, it's about Avengers Doomsday, but regardless, guys, this video will be completely spoiler-free, so do not worry, you are safe with me. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Excellent!
If you all know the history of this team of the Fantastic Four being brought to the big screen, let's just say that history hasn't been, well, kind to this team. There was, I believe, a movie that was released. I can't remember if it was in theaters or it was released for TV, but there was a made-for-TV film. I don't know which of us for TV or theaters, but the ones that I have seen are the Tim Story films, and yeah, that film could have been something else, but God, they should have been on that one, to say the least. I was still skeptical, even though Kevin Feige and everybody else was saying that, yes, the Fantastic Four is not only finally being brought to the MCU, not to the big screen, but we will be doing it justice. Even though the teaser for this movie was really, really good, and it did leave me feeling more optimistic for how this movie could be. I think that the majority of us can all agree that the MCU has not been in, well, to say the least, the greatest state, even though I have been a person that has defended and I have enjoyed pretty much the majority of the most recent MCU films. But let's be real here, guys. Ever since Endgame, there have only been, let's see here, 4 great MCU films ever since Endgame. Actually, no, I take that back. There have been 5 great MCU films since Endgame. And guys, I am sorry to report that the Fantastic Four First Steps is the next great MCU film. I mean, guys, this movie not only gave me so much optimism for the MCU moving forward, but legitimately, guys, this team, the Fantastic Four, has finally, and it has been finally done justice. I usually start talking about the performances, but here's the thing. In the case of the Fantastic Four First Steps, I'm actually going to talk about performances next, even though I have a lot of praise down to the cast. But guys, starting off, I actually want to talk about 3 specific things: the look, the aesthetic, and the visual effects. Fantastic Four First Steps is without a doubt one of the best looking MCU films in quite some time. Whether it comes down to the aesthetic, the visual effects, the color palette, the cinematography alone, this movie is such a visually arresting film. One particular comparison that you guys might hear throughout a couple of reviewers, and I'm only saying this because I definitely felt that vibe. Fantastic Four First Steps, as I was watching this, it felt like I was watching a combination of the Jetsons meet a superhero film. And as a person who, by the way, who absolutely adores the Jetsons and that aesthetic with the retro futuristic technology into this certain world, but it also gave it this nice, cool, fresh feel to it. And no joke, Matt Shackman, I'm just gonna say this right now to you, buddy. If someone comes up to you and asks you to make a brand new live action Jetsons, please do so. I want you to do your take on the Jetsons so badly, especially after seeing your take on the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four First Steps is without a doubt, in terms of visual effects, is one of the best looking visual effects heavy films that Marvel's produced in quite some time. I mean, seriously, guys. Guardians Volume 3 has some of the best VFX of the studio, of the universe, but man, First Steps has some sequences that do rival it against some of the best of the studios ever put out, that some of the universe has put out. Which, by the way, and that brings me to this next point. Guys, see this movie on IMAX or just the biggest screen possible, because believe me guys when I say this, I can guarantee you still will have a great time, a very enjoyable time on a normal theater screen, there's no doubt. There are a multitude of shots that when it comes to either space or just the overall grand scale of this movie within this dynamic of a family movie, to which I absolutely love, but that's just saving that for later. There are so many shots in this movie that I feel like that do it so much justice, honestly, on a big IMAX. The IMAX format, the IMAX ratio, seriously could not do this movie or this team or this universe, this world building any better justice. All of the performances in this movie are fantastic. I didn't mean to make that pun, but it was coming anyway, so there you go, guys. There's the first of probably many fantastic puns we're making throughout this review. But all kidding aside, I almost said it again, son of a gun. Whether it's Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards to which man, you know what? Even though Pedro Pascal is being seen pretty much everywhere, and I mean every flarkin' where, to the point where some people I've seen are being very annoyed by him, but hey, I will say this. I don't care if I see him everywhere, as long as he gives a great performance with each character he's playing. Give me the Pedro Pascal, give me all the Pedro Pascal that he wants, or that I want, because man, Pedro Pascal here, I thought was great. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, man, she may have stolen the movie for me. I mean, Vanessa Kirby, I thought was not only such a badass in this film, but there were sequences in this film where she completely stole a sequence from Pedro Pascal, even from Joseph Quinn, who, by the way, Joseph Quinn is great in the film. Vanessa Kirby, I thought was brilliant in the film, and she has a scene in the film where, yeah, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, I do apologize if I butcher your name, sir, but man, he was a great Ben Grimm. I will have something to say about the characters later on, but as far as his portrayal of Ben Grimm goes, I thought he was great in the film, along with Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, I thought was not only so charismatic, but he does play the right amount of douche in the film. He's basically a douche with a heart of gold. That's the best way I can describe him, but he's not too much of a douche to the point where you hate him, but he's definitely got those bad boy genes still. Also, Julia Garner as Silver Surfer, I thought she was terrific in this film. She has a scene in this movie that I absolutely loved. Again, no spoilers, but Julia Garner I thought was great. And not to mention it as well, Silver Surfer, that did not look visual effects to me. Like, that looked like Julia Garner was in some type of bodysuit, like a very highly detailed bodysuit. I saved this person for last because, man, I have been waiting for justice, for this person to be done right, and that is Galactus, portrayed by Ralph Ineson. Oh my God, guys. Ralph Ineson as Galactus. Galactus in this movie is not only threatening, he's menacing, but guys, no joke. The moment that I heard Ralph Ineson's voice coming out of Galactus, I actually did this in the theater. I have been waiting ever since Marvel Ultimate Alliance for them to do Galactus Justice on the big screen live action, and man, Galactus, my boy, was done justice, and Ralph Ineson, the moment I heard he was cast as Galactus, I was so happy because, man, for those of you who have seen The Green Knight, you will know how he sounds in The Green Knight, so hearing that voice in Galactus
1 year hence
made this nerd smile so damn much. Oh, and one more person that I almost forgot to talk about, and that's Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man I thought was so entertaining, and he had a joke in this movie. I was cracking up. Paul Walter Hauser was great in the film. Something else in particular that I absolutely loved about this movie is how, more than anything else, it does concentrate on this movie as essentially like a family drama. The Fantastic Four First Steps isn't really an action-heavy movie. I mean, there are some great, some enthralling, and some incredible, here we go again, fantastic action sequences, because, man, the action in this movie, when it does happen, it's so much fun to watch. But more than anything else, the thing that I loved about this movie the most was that this movie, at center, is a family drama. And to add on to that, something else I loved is that this movie is another origin story. Like, it definitely could have been another origin story, but the thing I loved about them presenting this team is how they do it essentially as a way as like a news special, like a special presentation thing on the Fantastic Four. Not only that, it added to the whole retro futuristic aesthetic of this movie, but not to mention it as well, how they introduced the Fantastic Four in this film, I thought was, just to say the least, here is a word I'm going to say a lot in this video, but it was just so cool. But it just had this feel to it that I can't describe, but I absolutely loved the feel and the vibe that this movie had. And speaking of that, that brings me on to the next thing that I loved about this movie, and that's Matt Shakman's directing. Matt Shakman, I thought, not only did such a great job of introducing this iteration of the Fantastic Four for a brand new generation of theater goers, but how he builds up this world and how he just really throws you into everything, because like I mentioned you guys earlier, this is not an origin story, even though it does essentially do like kind of like a special presentation of how the Fantastic Four came to be. Matt Shakman, more than anything else, has made a film that sure is a superhero film, but at its very core, it's a family movie. It is a great family drama with these heroes that are struggling with being, heroes, but also strengthening their family bond. And I absolutely love that about this movie. And here's the thing, guys. Matt Shakman, I think, is a brilliant filmmaker, and not to mention a great TV filmmaker. He brought us WandaVision, which is, by the way, to this day, my favorite thing that Disney Plus has done with the MCU. Is there humor in this movie? Absolutely yes, but does it overshadow the more serious moments, the emotional moments, the more dramatic moments? No, it doesn't. Now, does every single joke work in this movie? No, it doesn't. I will say that much. There are some bits where the humor doesn't quite land as hard as it should land, but regardless, guys, at the same time, the Fantastic Four First Steps not only has great humorous moments, some great humorous moments, but it also does balance those humorous moments with great drama. The action sequences of this movie within this family drama are so good, and that's because I did care about these characters, and not only made the action sequences so riveting and so fun, but there was a moment, more than a few moments actually, where I just went, wow! The next thing I gotta talk about, as y'all can imagine, is Michael Giacchino's score. Never doubt this man on bringing, here we go again, a fantastic score, and once again, this man has brought another incredible score to the MCU. What he did for Fantastic Four, he not only did this team justice, but he has easily brought one of the best scores of the MCU. Like, it is genuinely that great of a score. Never doubt Giacchino. He is a master for a reason. I loved his score.
Well, that's just fucking great!
With that being said, and don't get me wrong, Fantastic Four First Steps is an excellent film, but if you're to ask me, there are a few things that for me hold this film back from being potentially what could have been like a top tier MCU film. It's still a great MCU film, absolutely is, but there are a few things for me that held it back from being what could have been like essentially like a top 10 MCU film. I wish that we could have gotten a bit more character work, and I do attribute that to the fact that this is a movie that isn't an origin story. So because that, it is a film that does feel like it does cut corners at times. There are spots in this movie where I just wish we could have dug a tad bit deeper with these characters, in particular with Ben Grimm, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who once again, he is so grand of him as Ben Grimm, but there are moments in this movie, especially with him, that I feel like we could have just gone a little bit deeper with this character. Fantastic Four First Steps is less than 2 hours long. If I remember correctly, it's about, what, an hour and 55, and by the way, that's not just credits. This is a movie that could have easily have been another 10, 15, even 20 minutes longer. I would have happily have spent 15, even 20 more minutes with these characters in this role, because man, while the movie does fly right by, I really do think this film could have benefited from an over 2-hour runtime at least. Just personally for me, I think the film could have been definitely just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer.
And here we go.
So overall, the Fantastic Four First Steps finally does this team proud. It's a terrific family-centered film with great emotional moments. It's visually stunning, and once again, Michael Giacchino delivers a, wait for it, a fantastic musical score. All in all, I'm gonna give the Fantastic Four First Steps a 4.5 out of 5. And can I say as well, it is such a wonderful time to not only be a DC fan, but a Marvel fan. My God, what a great time to be alive as a comic book fan. One more thing that I gotta mention as well. There are 2 post-credit scenes. Definitely at least stay for the mid-credits. Believe me, do not miss this. You absolutely want to stay for this one. I hope you all enjoyed my review of the Fantastic Four First Steps. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 reviews, please click it right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.